every single entrepreneurial podcast until I realized that it's just repeating in the exact same thing. It's like 10 things I do before 30 and 30 things I would do before 30 and, you know, what not to do before 30. And I'm like, man. So then I started watching podcasts that had guests because that's, you know, the same concept, but not so repetitive.
Yeah.
It's like those podcasts are very like top of funnel, you know, like just get in someone's brain.
Yeah. Oh, top of funnel.
Thing. Like,
this man know marketing over here? Are we going to talk nerdy marketing stuff?
Keywords.
No, dude, it's true. Like with podcast guests, like the business niche is interesting because like half of it is really genuinely motivation and half of it is so niche that if they talked about it on a podcast, nobody would understand except for them and like the one guy, probably you, who actually follow it.
Yeah.
So a lot of like actual big name entrepreneurs are really just in the motivation business at the end of the day.
Yeah.
Because it is really hard and you have to be willing to fight for it because nobody else will.
And I think getting guests is a slippery slope because they're like, say, Alex Hormozi, he can only get so many people that are at his level before it starts going down. And then you're essentially planning for failure. Like, you know, Alex Hormozi and Dan Martell is the one who it's like the 30 by 30. He's the one who it's, I watch him for a little bit and then you can get most of his ideas. In the first few episodes. But yeah, that's what I've noticed is like it's seeing podcasts that start a little bit too high on the like quality of guests. Yeah. It's like you see them start to struggle and they're like, shoot, you know, now who do we bring on? Because scheduling and, you know, if you don't have like a huge stockpile of podcasts and guests. So,
well, I mean, a lot of them will just, whoever's willing to pay $50,000 for a session. Yeah. You know? So thank you for your $50,000 donation today.
That's an honor.
This has been great. But I've actually heard that. I was talking to someone who does like the public relations, and they manage or they have connections to help some of their clients get on with Alex Hormozi and some of like the big names. Gary Vee and stuff like that, and it literally is that way. It's like they either really like you or you're gonna pay. At pretty much at that level, that's where it's at. But there are also a lot of guests that are just they don't care and they're only gonna talk to people they want to talk to, which is like the Joe Rogans and some of those guys.
And like he's a hard one to watch too because he's so broad. You can't. Like, I don't want to know. I like to watch people that I know, and it's like, oh, this is going to be a good conversation. I don't want to have to, like, research that person and be like, is this one I want to watch or no? And then it takes 30 minutes to even figure out what they do and who they are and why they're there. It's like Diary of a CEO. His is a better podcast. I like that one.
Yeah, he's very, very well organized, for sure. It's like, a little bit more structured. I don't know. I kind of disagree, though. I like the no-names sometimes because when they, like... You've never heard of them. They came out of nowhere. They were teaching at some tiny little private university for the last 50 years, and they have this revolutionary idea that cures cancer. It's like, I'll listen to that guy.
No, like that, but I'm saying, like, there's just so many you can listen to where it's Joe Rogan. Usually there's no title of saying, this is what we're talking about. You know, this is what they're good at. This is
that's a fair point.
That's what I mean. Like, I agreed there are underdogs, but like at least a little hint to what what they're going to be talking about.
Like Joe's about to talk about curing cancer right after he talks about aliens. Right after he talks about curing alien cancer.
Yes. So, I get freaking lost on those. I don't really even watch Joe. I never really was a huge Joe Rogan podcast guy because of that reason. Certain, like, I'd watch certain people on his, you know. There's
a lot to be said for a clickbait thumbnail. Like, not going to lie. Like, it's kind of annoying sometimes when it genuinely is clickbait, but when it's like keeps you focused and you know what you're about to listen to for the next hour that you're about to invest your time, makes a lot of freaking sense. And Diary of the CEO is really good about that because he like kind of stays on point, on topic. And we kind of do that. We just had a thumbnail got banned for the exact same thing, some of the clickbait stuff, which me saying clickbait is probably going to get this one banned, but you know, it's but you just have to phrase it in a way. And it was a funny one because it was like, it wasn't lying. It was literally telling the world what we talked about on the podcast. And so, but you just have to like, I feel like in marketing, like the simplest thing, it's always so funny. Like Trump, love him or hate him, he speaks in a 5th grade English. Everyone can understand him.
Yeah.
And so like part of marketing is literally that of like, you could be the smartest guy in the world, but if nobody understands your big words, it doesn't matter. You have to speak the common language that someone will find interest in quickly and then go from there. But it's a whole interesting game. We've been in it for just a little while here, and it's really just like a value add to all of our, either clients or other entrepreneurs in the AZ market who are out there grinding, doing big things at young ages. You and Andy over here. It's pretty cool. It's like there's definitely a network of Arizona entrepreneurs that kind of all stick together. All the trucks out there, blue collar boys.
I know the East Valley is like a very tight, everybody in the home service space, whether you have met them or they're all in, there's a million different networking events and different like coaching groups and stuff. So usually you see the same people, but it's very concentrated of,
Yeah. What networking events do you go to? Do you do BNI and stuff like that?
No, not BNI. I go to, I'm in the 1% Club with Cam Bodden.
Okay.
Green Mango. He sold Green Mango.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So that's, Andy's in that too. So it's like he has once a month calls with him, and then he brings on a guest speaker in between that. So every other week.
Very cool. He's based here in Arizona?
Yeah. So he's based out of here. And then.
Do they meet in person or just Zoom?
It's just Zooms with him. Yeah. And then usually his guest will be a Zoom. Yeah, usually a Zoom. And then he's partnered with Coconut Cleaning, like with Evan Ritchie on Coconut Cleaning. That's their other business, the carpet cleaning.
Okay. Not familiar. But that's cool.
Really?
Yeah, no.
You've never seen Coconut Cleaning?
No.
Blue vans?
What can I say? Gabby does the trick. I've never searched elsewhere. My house cleaner.
And then me and Andy, we just went to the Rap and Chat. Well, that's like State 48 Roofing. Jason Payne, he like coaches home service guys.
Yeah. We had him on the pod.
Jason?
Jason Payne?
No.
State 48?
No. This is different State 48. We are the 48th state.
Yeah, no, I know that. But actually, no, I take it back.
State 48.
Take it back.
State 48 HVAC.
Yeah, but Jason Payne though, he was scheduled at some point, and we've had to like keep rescheduling. I think 3 or 4 times.
There's probably also another Jason Payne out there.
I think there's a Jason Payne of equipment sales.
Oh yeah, that's him.
Oh,
that is who it was.
Okay,
that's hilarious.
they're not the same person. But
yeah, apparently.
2
different Jason Paynes and 2 different State 48s.
That's funny, yeah.
Well, Arizona is the 48th state.
No, I get that. I know there's like 17 bars that are called State 48, and they're all different entities. But anyways, close. Apparently not. That's cool though. So you're pretty tied into local Arizona businesses.
Not as much as I should be, but I'm starting to, because I didn't really get started like in my business self-employed until like September. So I didn't really have a need. Like I was aware of them all.
Okay.
I'm an observer. That's my goal, right? So like know everything that's working, so I can say like, because I've been watching Alex Mosey and all them since I was like 17.
Yeah.
So for like 5 years of just watching them.
Yeah.
And then it's like, okay, now I can take that and go.
Yeah. So, exactly.
I
respect that, dude. There's a lot of people that just watch and keep watching, keep watching, and keep talking about that they're watching.
Yeah.
And then keep watching. And they never take action, bro.
Yeah, I know.
And you're taking action.
Yep.
That's crazy. So tell me, back up a little bit. Tell me, so that's obviously like a little bit of context, but what's your story? How'd you get to where you're at?
So my background, my parents weren't like entrepreneurial, they were just like the most classic middle class people ever. Mom was in HR, dad was in like IT.
Okay.
And we had like, we were very comfortable, like nothing crazy, we weren't balling, living life lavish or anything. And then they always ask me like, where did you come from? Because I don't have the same mindset as them, it's very different, and I don't know even where I got it from. But so graduated high school, and then I was kind of like, what am I gonna do? I was good in school and had like a good GPA, but
so college, of course, is the next natural progression.
Yeah, but it wasn't. I was only gonna go if I got a full ride.
Yeah.
And I got some, and I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go freaking spend 4 years. Doing nothing. Yeah, and like
getting into debt.
Yeah, I'm not.
The stuff that will be outdated when AI comes out.
Yeah, so didn't go there. And then I knew I wanted to start a business, but I didn't know what exactly that was yet. And so right out of high school, I worked for like a weird company. We installed zoo exhibit netting. So we traveled around. And so it was like, we were the only company in the United States that did it to that level. So that was like really weird. And then I realized like there was money in it, but traveling sucked. All those guys were like, please leave. Like if you ever want to have a wife and kids, like you need to go now, because they created the industry. They were like 50s and 60s, and they wanted to make me a crew lead, and I'm like, oh, I don't know, because
Yeah.
So got out of there, went and did door-to-door one summer.
Okay, let's go.
It was a great experience. I think everybody should do door-to-door,
Yeah.
Just for the confidence. You're the most hated person in the neighborhood.
Yep.
Showing up at 8 p.m., just, knock, knock, knock.
Straight up. Been there, done that.
Yeah. So did door-to-door and then came back. I knew that there was like some drama among our team leads and stuff. So
naturally,
no one had the best summer, and it was a good experience for like what you learned. But I'm like, I don't see me doing this, And then I met my now wife like right when I came back. So I'm like, I'm not going to go across the country. I sold in Northern Virginia. So I'm not going back over there for 4 months and leaving her. She was in nursing school. So
heck no, dude.
Yeah. So, and then I did door-to-door, came back, worked for a pool company because my buddy was doing that, and I just needed like a quick job when I got back. And from there, that's when I started like realizing the jobs I get, I can look and see if this is what I want to start. And so I was there for, I don't know, a few months, 6 months, and he was running it great. Like he had a great business and it was very profitable for him, but it was also so time consuming. That's a business where it's recurring, so you make money on your exit, or it's just kind of prints cash, but you have to be out of it. And he was working so much, So from that aspect of, I can literally never take a vacation because the pools have to get cleaned.
Dude. Yeah.
So there's a benefit to not having to eat what you kill every single month and try and find the next client, and land the next whale.
Yes.
But at the same time, where I was at, I just didn't see being held prisoner by my business like the smartest thing for I wanted to do. So left there, went and started working for an electrical company. Did that for 2 years. Was thinking about starting an electrical company. You have to get your 4 years to get your license, and then you can go on your own. And then throughout the process, it was just I realized that it was a really difficult business model. We were in new construction, so you're getting paid out over 18 months, 24 months. So you take draws, as the time goes.
Sure.
But we had a ton of projects going on at the same time. And so for one, trying to track that, I don't know how he was doing it, but I could see that being very difficult, when you're getting draws and builders aren't paying and this and that. High liability because you're wiring the whole house. If it burns down, you're screwed.
Yep, kind of a problem. It's a lot of
trying
insurance.
to train people to do that. I was higher up in that company. I was like kind of a second crew lead. So trying to teach new guys that came on. I love teaching, and the other guy didn't like teaching. So I'm like, okay, sure, I'll do that. But trying to have faith, and some people just don't pick up certain things.
Where do you think you had that love for teaching? Like, where'd that come from? Because it's pretty rare. It's actually really rare.
Yeah. I think because I was mostly surrounded by like friends, and like all of my friends, they weren't friends that their parents were like entrepreneur or anything, right? So they were also middle class. So like I would learn something and I'd go and tell them about it. And I got, what? That's stupid. I'm like, no, you don't understand. Like, what do you mean stupid? How could that possibly be stupid?
But look at the outcome. Look what you could get from this.
So
like, why would I do that?
Trying to explain certain things to people, and school, like school came easy to me, and I realized that school didn't come easy to other people. And so I kind of realized that gap, and were
you an A+ student?
I was, yes.
Oh.
So,
all right. Well, you know what they say about A+ students?
What is that?
They work for C students. Just throwing that out there. But apparently not this time. We've had a lot of C students on the pod, I'll say that much.
I think Andy was.
A handful of... You didn't go to school with them, did you?
D's
No.
Get degrees, baby. D's get degrees.
Yeah. So, like, I wasn't a overachiever and try hard. It just came easy. Like, I had friends who they physically could not pass school on. It didn't make sense to me. So I just had that. Like, I could understand things a little more, and I don't know what exactly triggered it, but I just realized that I'm pretty good at explaining certain things to people, and I understand that people learn different, right? So it's like you tell them one way, doesn't work, tell them another way, versus in school, it's like, we're going to tell you one way, and if you don't get it, we're going to explain it the same way.
Yeah.
Like, that didn't make sense.
You kind of have to have equal parts like patience, and you have to have equal parts like the desire to want to figure out their brain as opposed to just your brain, which is interesting for someone like yourself as a high performer. Like, your brain can go a million miles an hour, but then having the patience to teach people, usually that clashes. Excuse me. It usually clashes when you're doing that because you like you can go a million miles an hour. Why would you take the time to slow down and delegate? Which is the exact problem that your 2 other companies you worked for had, is the owners, whether they were good or not, they were just doing it, and they were incapable of delegating to that next team member that could then free up their time and calendar to have some peace, to live.
Yeah.
Which is what you didn't want.
Yes, exactly. So, like I said, I knew I always wanted to start a business, so I was like kind of just taking a step back and looking at the company I was at, and like, no, maybe not this one. Look at this one. Yeah. I was looking at different opportunities that were out there, but I always think of things as far as like a lifestyle, right? Like, I don't want to find a hobby that's going to destroy my body. I didn't want to find a job that's going to provide me a horrible lifestyle, you know? So trying to find something go at it with intelligence and not just, I think there's a benefit of taking a step back, but then it's a fine line of getting into like analysis paralysis. And that's what I was like really close to and in the middle of analysis paralysis. Because it's hard, you know, when you have so many opportunities and like I am an observer, so I see things and I look into it and then I look into it too much and I see the flaws in it, but it worked because now the industry I'm in, I feel like it's very solid, and there's a million different pros over other industries that I found in it. So I'm like happy that I did take that time and I didn't get stuck in the wrong vehicle.
I feel like before you started your business, you're the kind of guy that would have bought a lot of courses.
No, I don't think I did.
Really? Because I feel like that analysis paralysis, that's kind of course land. It's like 90% of those guys are never going to do anything that are buying those courses. Yeah. And the information a lot of times is top tier if someone would just apply it, you know?
Yeah, I think, so I signed up for like a real estate course. That's the only thing I did and it was freaking too much money and I shouldn't have done it and I never used it because I thought real estate was going to be the path, right? I'm like, oh, that could be cool, you know, let's do that, you know? But I was 18. No one I knew, like not even family, friends, or anybody was in real estate. So it's like, so now I'm all by myself and it just, and I was working at the time. So it was just, it just didn't stick, right? I think that's
just you and your MLS listings. Yeah. I found a lot of the friends that I have that are into real estate have either got into real estate to just be into real estate. I mean, obviously you can like do it almost like the job route in a way, but almost all of them get into it, super excited about it, and then realize you need some entirely other industry to make a lot of money to then be in real estate the way everyone kind of wants to be in real estate.
Yeah. So
they own small businesses. So you can still be in real estate. You probably will be, I'd imagine. But.
Yeah. I mean, I think real estate's something where it's such a large industry. There's so many paths. Like you can be in it without even being in it.
Yeah. And it's also the tax code is actually written to incentivize home ownership and residential ownership, but like property ownership, because you can literally take losses on your business if you invest in real estate. A lot of people don't know that. Like a lot of people think to not pay taxes is like a really bad thing, but the entire tax code, it's like, what is it? It's like, I think it's like 10 pages or so on how to pay taxes and then hundreds of pages on how to not pay taxes. And really the answer is like, you put it into real estate.
Yeah.
Makes sense. And it helps the economy, which is why we're at where we're at. Anyways. Go on.
Yeah. So then I thought about, like, let me do some sales. I did door-to-door sales, you know. It's like car sales. It's like, well, you're supposed to be there when people are not working, and that's when I don't want to be working, you know, because it's like there's so many opportunities. It's like, yeah, we'll just go hustle and grind. It's, yeah, but if I find an opportunity that allows me to not have to go and sell every single car sale on Memorial Holiday and July 4th, it's why would I put my family in that situation, you know?
Yeah, seriously.
So, and then that was kind of the last one before I went back to electrical, and then that's when I got out of there. I found out about the lighting industry, started like calling people, and I joined a Facebook group with landscape lighting guys. Called around to a few of them, like in Kentucky and Tennessee and Florida. Just realized what was possible with it. And there's a podcast who does talks only about landscape lighting and outdoor lighting. So started watching to that. And then I was working in super luxury $5-10 million homes. Started looking around, realized there was a huge gap where I kind of would hear the things they were talking about, and not that I understood it, but then I was kind of like, maybe they're not doing it right here because the landscapers are doing it and they're probably not doing it right. You're spending $1 million, $2 million on your landscaping, and these people aren't thinking about how am I going to see this at night?
Yeah. So your Toyota mechanic is changing your Ferrari brakes, is what you're saying on these houses. You're having basic landscapers who just can plug stuff in to do these giant houses.
Yeah, it's like because landscape's in the name, they get away with it. But what if I said, oh, like I'm gonna have your plumber change out your HVAC? You know, some companies that like it doesn't make sense. But because they're in the landscape, it makes sense when it's almost borderline electrical and a ton on design. And there's no attention to detail in it. They're putting in fixtures that don't work, and so because I was already accustomed to those clients who were spending $1 million in their master closet or crazy money on all these different things. When I started hearing the numbers they were talking about in the podcast about lighting, I could kind of fathom it. Not that I could, but I was closer to it. I wasn't working in tract homes and they're talking about these people are spending $200,000 on lighting. That would have made no sense. But now I'm like, well, yeah, that makes sense, because these customers I was working with, so many of them were just not throwing money away, but they had it to spend and they wanted to freaking spend it,
Yeah, on their house. The place where they're going to spend most of their time. Yeah. Wow, that's crazy. Did you go on that podcast or did you talk with those guys specifically? You just kind of heard about it?
So he has a coaching group now, which I'm in. Cool. It's essentially like plug and play for lighting. He is a good teacher where he didn't create the biggest lighting business, but because he was in the industry and he knows everybody, he hears what they're saying and is able to put in a digestible way where now he says, okay, here are our modules where you can go through it and then insert, here's the script for this, because he knows that the easiest way to move forward is to have a roadmap for you. It's like buying the right course and the right training is having like an invisible business partner where they already did it. You're not giving them equity. You're just paying them a little bit of cash and they, here, go run with it. So,
and if you get a community with it too, that's also a massive
exactly.
benefit.
So
that's crazy. So you just cold called these owners of these businesses and said, hey, I'm trying to start my own.
Yeah.
Do you want to kill yourself or what?
Yeah.
That ain't gonna make the cut.
That's what I wanted to know is what kind of lifestyle it provided, and hear about what it took to get where they're at, right? Like, I didn't want to have to, not that I didn't want to, but I'm like, maybe it's not the best idea to go into a business where to get to $1 million, I have to have 20 guys on the road,
Yeah, exactly.
So these guys are getting there with 2-3 guys, installers, one admin, one office, and they're doing like $1.5 million. So it's a lot less stress in the fact that people, one, they want you there. So they're kind of more, they're at just a better temperature with you, They're not like, oh my gosh, and you didn't show up, or this went wrong. It's like, well, okay, well, I really want the light there, so we ran into an issue, like, let's just figure it out. So they were, like, the lighting industry, everyone's super nice. A lot of them are older, and it's super heavy on the East Coast, like Florida. Lighting is just, there's a lot more lighting companies there than there are out here. And so, I was just talking to them and saying like, hey, I want to start. Do you have any advice or what I should look at or where I can kind of get a crash course or whatever? And I kind of just watched the Facebook post for issues people running into, questions they were asking for 4 or 5 months before I quit my job in April, right when I bought my house, because I kind of needed a W-2 to get that,
Sure.
Got the house.
What job did you have before?
Electrical.
Oh, okay.
So that was the last job that I had.
I see.
And then I quit that, started remodeling my house as I was doing like just, making money, just random ways, whatever I could do because I didn't have a job and I didn't have a business yet. And then in September is when it kind of like picked off. So I had like 5 months of just figuring it out and then learning as much as I could until that point, and then it just went. So
wow, that's crazy. Do you have team members now in the field? So
I'm looking at bringing on an installer right now. I have like a part-time guy who helps me out a little bit on the installing side of things, and then I have a VA who helps me on some of the like back end. He's building out some like go high level stuff and website, and I say, hey, like I need you to do this. Can you go do it? Like schedule my posts for Instagram and Facebook and just anything I don't have time for, like, hey, go create an account for this and start building whatever, So
exactly.
That's helped a ton.
It's awesome.
But being able to get like full-time installer and not have to go into the field, because now bringing someone on, I can get a 2-day job done in 1 day. So that's already amazing. But being able to fully get out of there.
Yeah, that's awesome, dude. That's an exciting step too. It's really, really exciting to either be in a place where you don't have to play admin and or sales. It's typically not the answer. That's where everyone wants to go. They just want to do the thing that they love doing, which is the design and the building and all that kind of stuff, and usually less the sales. But it's usually not the case. It's usually where you need to be in the sales and someone needs to be installing the seat and make things happen on the marketing side of things too. But it's cool that you also have someone like essentially a marketing assistant who can do all of those point and click tasks that are just, repeat doing that 1,000 times in a day. It sounds like you're primed to get to that place. Dude, I've learned so much. So I've helped several hundred small local businesses really all over the world get to that place where they've hired either their first provider or their first kind of admin to step back to just work on the marketing. Yeah. And it's a wild transition. A lot of people can struggle with it. You don't seem to have the brain that you would struggle with it. You probably have a list of 29 things that you would be doing for your business if you weren't doing an install on a Tuesday morning. But a lot of people just don't kind of get with that. They don't understand things about reactivation campaigns and text campaigns or using high level to its fullest capabilities. Like there's so much that a little piece of software can do for your business when it comes to attribution or media buying or, scheduling your organic content. There's so much that you can do. People just don't know what to do. Yeah. They just don't know what to do. Or they don't know where to find people. And those are usually the two problems, is the marketing piece and then it's finding the talent. If you can do those two things, and then teaching would be the bridging the gap, I guess, making everybody play nice together. But yeah, that'll be exciting for you, man, when you get that first person, because do you already have a lot of things like SOP'd out, so it's going to be an easy transition? Or is it all living in your brain right now?
So because of the course that I'm in, I can essentially put my installer through that and say, hey, so he has a design and sales side and he has an install and like troubleshooting side of it.
Oh, sick.
So I can say, hey, go through these models or modules, see what steps you should have. He's going to teach like lingo and all that stuff. So yes, I do through that, but I can also build some more personalized ones, which I haven't done yet because I have that. It's like I'm going to focus on my higher move the needle tasks, since that's already pretty much done for that end.
Yeah, which makes sense. Yeah, as you should. And it's one of those things that's just a constant, like, there's so much that lives in your brain, and it seems like such a low priority, and it is many times a low priority to get it out of your brain. Yeah. But eventually it will become a massive priority that it's not in your brain. Yeah. Because it'll stop your business from scaling at some point. It's usually once you get to like a small team of like 3 or 4 or something like that.
And I think now with like Whisperflow to Claude, you can just talk it out and say, hey, build this, and then put it in, say, like Gamma and build like a slideshow. So that way they can visualize it and say add pictures and refer, So there's so many things now where it's so much easier to, where I am a big like pen and paper guy where I just brain dump every day or every other day. So I can kind of see all I'm thinking about, and it helps so much, right? You don't feel like a huge freaking stress ball because you're like, I have 50 things on my brain. Well, actually I have 10. But it feels like 50 because I'm counting the same one 5 times when I'm trying to remember it, So being able to just brain dump on pen and paper, looking at it and saying, okay, let's go like run with this one, let's just check off the box. Having a to-do list is huge.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. Cannot agree more. As someone who has a massive ever-growing to-do list from pretty much anyone who talks to me throughout the week, it is very true, dude. And you're right. I do live in Whisperflow and Claude. That is a constant every single day. And it's nice too to just be able to like go at the speed of thought rather than the speed of computer. Like that is becoming more real. And I think that's probably, I would say it's probably the biggest breath of fresh air, or maybe the only breath of fresh air that AI brings. Like there's a lot of downsides for sure. And it's like the downside is you can't just be human anymore. Now you have to like stay up at night thinking about all the other things people are building with AI that you're not. But if you got a path, if you got a track, and you know how to like use all the tools, it's pretty cool. It's pretty cool what you're capable of doing. Yeah. What have you built so far?
So I kind of just started getting into the whole like Claude side of things and like figuring out, I was kind of talking to him outside that I would used to say that I'm not a tech person and that just is what it was, but now you can't use it as an excuse. Like you have to, there's no, well, I'm not techie or whatever. Or now I don't want to do that. Like you have to, there's no way to get around it when your competitors are going to be using it, and, or you can be the first or you can be the last, I'd rather be the first. So let me kind of get over that barrier and just start figuring out what I don't know. And I have a couple people that I know that are pretty into that stuff. So I'm trying to figure out what I can keep with my VA and what I can keep with like Claude, because I can build out an agent that'll say, hey, this is our brand. go create posts and go create, titles and whatever for like still images. And then now you can create some pretty realistic, because usually AI renderings for lighting used to be like pretty bad.
Oh yeah.
Because you couldn't say like, hey, this is the color temperature. You just say put lights and it chooses what it wants to do, whether it's warm or white, or you're like, hey, put lights on this house, and it would put a light. It's like, no, I can't get a light there, So now there's a guy in the industry and he uses like Nano Banana or whatever it is, and he'll have a few arrows, and then he'll put in there to create images, and then Kling, is that the one that creates animated?
Yeah.
And then he puts that into CapCut, and he creates like insane videos. It looks like a freaking professional filmer came through there after a product, and it's before it ever even gets installed.
Wow.
So cool. Now we can start doing that. So trying to figure out how to get that pretty good, and that helps in the sales process.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's hard it's all visual. So what I'm describing, I really have to make sure that the customer is envisioning that, and I'm not overselling. I don't want to turn the lights and they're like, well, I thought it'd be this, that's the worst thing that could possibly happen. So trying to manage expectations, say, hey, this is like a rendering of what we're shooting for. It's going to be like as close to possible with this. Understand though, this is AI. So certain shadowing might be a little bit different, or, whatever. Yeah. But everything can be adjusted or changed. So that's a very good way to help customers who may not be as visual, right? Like it's like going into a house and saying, we're going to take out this wall and change the flooring. They're like, I just see an old rinky-dinky house. I can't see it remodeled afterwards. Yeah. So
exactly.
Bridging a gap with that. I haven't explored it as much as I should because I'm so busy, but having a VA kind of helps a lot with that.
Yeah.
But as soon as I start to scale a little bit more, like I will definitely be using Claude more to build out like certain agents that can build things. Like if I need to recruit or whatever, like can create job postings and automate certain things, and kind of have my VA like just oversee it. Yep. But trying to teach them how to use it, how I'm using it,
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense. I mean, being still in the field, like you don't have the time. You're too busy fulfilling. You're literally fulfilling. You cannot be serving the business kind of top of funnel. But at the same time, like it's cool that you're using, that's actually a very unique use case of like the actual physical space change and the visual representation that can help in the sales process. Like I'm glad you didn't say you're just building a lot of cool things that makes your dashboard look pretty, which is usually what most people do. But instead like actually selling something that literally will get people across the line.
Yeah.
Is to see those renderings that probably takes you, 45 seconds to build. But it is interesting. Someone like yourself, who I can tell like you maybe came from not quite as techie, which is actually a really good thing to not be as techie, because like that can be a massive distraction from the actual what needs to get done in the business. Techie people typically aren't super great at sales. They're better with talking to computers than humans. But there's very much a need when you do get that first person to literally become the master of data in your business, the knowing where every single lead came from, every single customer came from, attributing it. All that stuff is like so important. And then it's just a constant A/B testing and staying so organized that you can know all of those things and also continue to help with all of the operation things that surprisingly come up every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, there's like a million things you can track, even more than you ever think you can, It's like, let me start with 5, and then those 5 create other ones, It's like it's like cost per lead. Well, then what about cost per quote, and then cost per customer acquisition, and then what about now how does that work into like referrals and LTV, because it's you made costs up more to acquire this customer, but then they spend more, and there's so much you can track with it, and knowing all that is how you can even make any decisions.
100%. Being intentional with Google reviews and increasing your referral fees or bonuses or whatever if the referrals tend to be higher, more potent leads or whatever. There's so much to do, and High Level will do a good portion of it for you. It's just going to be complex, convoluted, and someone like yourself, eventually it probably makes a lot of sense for you to have your own custom CRM. That is where the world is going. Genuinely is. And there's so much to track in that regard, and there's so much that's niche to your business too. Like that whole quote creation process, eventually you could build that out to where literally one of your installers could probably do that. They just say, here's a picture of the house, here's what I want, here's some arrows, boom, go, and it'll just do it in the background.
Yeah, that'd be sweet.
The house, yeah, dude. And then you could even door knock. and sell people right there and do a custom quote right there.
I've seen. I can't remember if it was something I've seen or someone was talking about.
Yeah.
But I've gotten in the mail where I don't know how they do it or what platform. I saw something about it, and you essentially can use like Google Street View and populate people's houses, and then send like, you could in theory render on the house and then send a postcard with their house rendering. Like I could go and walk down the street and take photos and then insert that in, but being able to say, hey, like pull the data from like Google Street View and then put that, now I can hit like a whole neighborhood without having to take a photo, just to even say like, is this my house? They're like, that would really catch their eye. This looks really familiar.
Yeah.
So,
dude, that's actually so smart.
Yeah.
You should totally do that. It's only a couple cents per postcard too. If the Google Street View isn't too fisheye, I guess.
Yeah.
But it's AI, so you can probably change anything as needed. Dude, that's sick. Or even going down certain neighborhoods. I would imagine the problem. Have you door knocked for this business, actually?
Not for this one, no. I haven't needed to because I can't fulfill on all those. Like, I'm busy enough just organic Google. That's like kind of my main lead source.
Yeah, maps.
I have a pin by me, so I stay pretty busy with that. But as soon as I'm kind of, since I have someone who can help me on fulfillment, I can start taking on more jobs.
Yeah.
And I haven't even done any paid ads or anything yet. So
nice.
I have, like, I can go one-to-one, door-to-door, and target who I want.
Yeah.
Or I can go one-to-many and deal with the tire kickers and stuff on meta ads and just create a high friction form where saying, hey, our average ticket is this, does that sound fine, or something, like where I can say, hey, I'm going to make more more on your job. Like, I'm going to have the highest friction form possible because I don't need 100 leads a week.
Yeah.
I just don't. Lighting kind of sells itself. They're buying, the design and sales go hand to hand. So if I can just talk to them and portray what they want, we have different options for, kind of everybody. So like good, better, best. And maybe this doesn't even make sense. Let's phase it out and do the front and then the back later, or we can finance or whatever that looks like.
That is pretty cool. And it's also very much a AI safe business, meaning like AI will not replace what you're doing because really what you sell is a conversation. It's a custom conversation with the homeowner on exactly what they want.
Yeah.
And then also educating them on what they didn't even know they could have with lighting.
Yeah.
Like they probably don't even know what color temperatures are until they talk to you.
Correct. Yeah. My goal is to talk to them and educate them enough so by the end of it, they're using the terms that I'm using to me,
Yeah.
Like, well, what about like the shadowing over there, or, what Kelvin temperature for this, or like light output and how to control that, different things like that. Yeah. Once they start using words that I'm using, I know I did a pretty good job because now the next person, usually they're not chasing quotes with it because it's like going to a designer, now design this differently, give me a different price. It's well, you're not comparing apples to apples at that point. So, it's a pretty good job where someone calls you, if you can provide them and just communicate with them, you have a pretty high chance of them not going shopping around. If they can't afford you, that's different. But it's like, if the price makes sense, they're like, well, now let me go to another person. I don't get that a ton. So, if I can educate them and make them a lighting designer, so now once the product is revealed and they say, hey, that corner looks a little dark, maybe we should add one there, where now they want the lights, and they're telling me where we should put lights. And it's like, sure, let's run with it, And if someone does come in behind me and they start using words to them that they're not using or whatever, it kind of separates you. So
yeah, absolutely. As it should. I mean, there is an element of education in any client relationship, and there really should be. And if there's not, they're not a good client. They probably won't come back to you. And if they do, it's like they're obviously into it. They love it. They love the output, and they like have a new perspective they never would have had going through it. It's almost like a rite of passage. It's like you ever met those guys that like restore cars, and then you ever see one of those guys like out in the wild, and they run into another one of those guys? Oh, dude, like instant brotherhood.
Yeah, their day's over at 11. They're going to, the sun will be down by the time it's over.
Yeah, straight up, dude. Yeah, because they're in the know. Like they know every nut and bolt of their 1930s Ford or whatever. It's like that is a very niche like thing to do, and the similar thing with like the lighting side of things. So here's my question, because in a lot of the industries that we work with, blue collar businesses, a lot of them have the biggest problem they have is not finding the ICP, the avatar that you're looking for, basically. And the biggest, depending on the business, the biggest problem in that is the DIYers. So in your journey of selling, because you've only done this for less than a year?
Yeah, less than a year.
Less than a year. That's incredible. So, have you found a lot of people who are like kind of tire kickers in the sense of like, I think I could get it for cheaper, or I could just do this all myself, and they just don't know what you know about it. So, this is what we do on all podcasts. We do a DIY pitch, which is basically like, hey, if this is you, by all means, go out and do it. It will be cheaper because it will be done by an actual amateur who doesn't know what they're doing. You will mess up. You will probably find these. And if you do it incorrectly and you don't follow what I tell you to do, you will probably fail and have to spend twice as much than you would have even just starting with hiring a designer.
Yeah. So
can you speak to that person and kind of like help educate them? Like, go out and do it, like, by all means. Or here's the easy button.
Yeah. So I guess you can do anything yourself, right? You can swap your engine yourself, but like I've tried to watch car YouTubes and stuff, and it takes me what should take an hour, takes me 10 hours, you know, and I'm like, man, this is stupid. I'm just going to pay someone the next time. So, you can go and buy lights, right? There's so many different options as far as like, there's 3 kind of main points to a lighting system. You have the fixtures, like the installation with the connections, and then the design. So the design is like the biggest separator between, say, me and like just a landscaper, because they're just putting lights in the ground, right? They're, hey, this is a path, we should put path lights. Where it's like, hey, well, what's more of a functional option? So being to differentiate where the best fixture and what the application is, that's huge, you know, knowing that. So people put path lights because I think they should put path lights. So if you're like a DIY, you know, it's like, you know, you see a path, stagger a few path lights. You don't line it symmetrical because then you have a runway and it looks like you're pulling up to, you know, Southwest or whatever. So stagger path lights. I try not to use them a ton because they're a maintenance nightmare and people aren't going to keep up with it. The ground shifts, a kid kicks a ball at it, your landscaper steps on it, and now your path light's crooked, you know. So that's like a huge thing, is knowing how your space is going to be used and who's going through there. Knowing that if there's going to be a kid or a ball hitting it or whatever, maybe don't use that or try a different one. So looking at all the different options of the fixtures. And then as for the installation, making sure that I see a ton where we go to a job and all the wire is essentially just ran on top of the dirt. You know, so we trench down like 6 inches to make sure that it's like fully compacted, and it's not gonna come up. Where you see that a ton where someone's like, man, the ground's so freaking hard, I'm just gonna scoot the rock over and cover it with rock. And now the wire comes up and it's exposed to the sun. So after 5 years, it starts cracking, gets water in it, sucks water through the lines, and now all the copper's corroded. So that is the installation side of things, making sure using the right connections. Everything I use is like waterproof, and it's like a crimp connector with a heat shrink. So we could play tug of war and it's not going to go anywhere, versus wire nuts are the easiest thing you're going to find at Home Depot, and you just twist them on and then
get it done for a day.
Yeah. So then you have a connection underground, and this light gets pulled or knocked over, and now the connection comes out. So now you're digging up your yard, right? So that's like a huge issue with troubleshooting is if you use the wrong connections, it's going to be like just chasing issues. And then for the fixtures themselves, like the quality of them, making sure that the bulbs that you're using have the highest output, highest CRI, so the color temperature is chose correctly, but also the quality of light is going to make it look as realistic as possible, close to daylight. And that's what that CRI is, color rendering index. So if it's super low, it's not going to produce what you want it to look like. Whereas CRI, the closer you get, the closer it is to like that pure light that looks like in daylight. So choosing a really high quality light bulb or like integrated LED, and then choosing brass over aluminum. Aluminum is going to corrode, and the chipping on them or the paint on them is going to chip. They're going to look like death. You know, they're not going to look good after a few years. So brass,
aluminum, really? I thought aluminum's pretty.
Yeah,
it kind of holds up. It doesn't.
Aluminum is the cheaper option of fixtures. And then it's usually paired with plastic in the stake. So you have like plastic threads on plastic threads. And then what happens a ton is, say that path light gets kicked over. As it comes out, it strips the threads. So now you try and twist it back in, and it pinches the wire, cuts a connection, and now none of your lights work because there's a short, right? So what I use is brass fixtures that have brass threads, and then it's a PVC stake with a brass insert. So it's brass on brass. So it's not, if it gets knocked over, one, it's going to take a lot more, and you can actually screw it back in if for some reason after a few years it unscrews itself. So you can do it yourself. It's probably not going to last that long. The benefit of kind of going with me is I'm going to maintain it and have it look the same as day 1 as it does at year 10. I'm going to come back every year, twice a year, polish up the fixtures, make sure that they didn't get knocked over. If there's kind of overgrowth, maybe we move a light over, so that way we can still get that same effect. And just making sure that if lights go out and if it's under warranty, we'll replace it, So staying on top of everything is something that extends a warranty.
Wow.
It's like buying a car, right? So what I do is higher ticket. So it's like buying a Lexus and then never getting an oil change, never changing brakes, and then coming to me and saying, hey, why did it only last 5 years? Well, I told you, let's stay on top of it, It's hard to do that when our water here is super hard. So making sure that it's not just sitting in water like right next to a sprinkler, it's like choosing the right light for the application.
That's so interesting. I mean, if you're talking about the actual material of the threads, that you probably know everything inside and out. I don't think landscapers are going that deep on things.
They don't, and they don't care because they don't need to know.
Yeah, they don't. They just want to get it done and get you out the door kind of thing. That's fascinating. So how do you structure your plans basically? Is it sort of like a upfront for the job and then like a monthly or yearly retainer type of a thing, or it's just all upfront and you will maintain it as a warranty?
So it's just we pay up front, so it's depending on how many lights you have and the scope of work, that's when it comes in. And then depending on that, I'm kind of building out the pricing for the maintenance program. It's going to be tiers. So if you say you have this many lights to this many lights, account for like 2 man hours, come out, check everything. Any bulbs that are under warranty, we'll replace them, do like kind of a polish of everything. And then if it's like we need to replace a light because outside of warranty, we'll discuss that with you, But it's the maintenance, which is either going to be on a biannual or annual basis.
Interesting. Wow. Dude, I feel like if you, I know you're outdoor lighting, but I feel like if you did a maintenance plan on changing bulbs on the indoor, people would buy that.
Yeah. 100%. And that's the thing, because you see it all the time where someone goes and a light bulb goes out and they go and replace it and they don't match. They don't care, or it's too hard to confuse. It's too confusing,
because you went to Lowe's versus Home Depot and you couldn't match. Yeah,
exactly. So different manufacturers, even though it says we're both 3,000 Kelvin, they're never the same.
Yeah, like or the CRI is different.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
flicker is going to be different. Yeah.
So trying to make sure that usually what I'll do is if you're going to replace, and then you have to keep in mind, so LEDs, every time it turns on, it essentially gets like the most tiniest amount less bright after that time. So you have like I believe it's called L70, which is like the lifespan of the light. So once it gets past 70% of the output, that's when its lifespan is up. So when I go to replace a light right next to a brand new one, this one's going to be way dimmer, not because there's any issues, just because that's just what it's made to do, right? This one's fresh. So as soon as you start turning them off and on, off and on, off and on, they get a little bit, you can't even tell because they all are at the same. But when you go to replace it with the brand new one, that's when you can tell, super obvious. So I'll replace like a section of bulbs, if we're able to, especially like outdoor lighting, like say garage sconces, just replace them all at the same time. If you only have 3 bulbs, don't cheap out and just do one because they're not going to match. And now you're setting everything up at the same lifespan again.
And those are the ones that are on all the time too. So it makes a lot of sense. Yeah. It's like, let me just get one tire. No, like get all 4. It's crazy. That's really interesting. Do you do anything other than LEDs? Is everything LEDs outdoor lighting?
Yeah. So everything before, when the industry started, it was all halogen. Yeah. And that was in like hearing about what you had to do for that. you'd have to have like huge transformers and everything had to be so particular where if this light bulb was getting 12 volts and this was getting 10, this one wouldn't work and this one would blow. Like, so you'd have to run everything to a central location with like a way higher wire because you had to be so specific on voltage drop where the lights only worked within, say, like a range of 2 or 3 volts and you needed everything to be the same, right? Now in LED, stuff has a working voltage of like 9 to 16, sometimes even higher. So if I run a really long line and it drops voltage, I'm pretty safe, So it's almost fail-proof now. The issue that I run into is when you use cheaper Amazon lights, they don't regulate the power consumption that they take that well, where I've seen it where one guy called me because his lights literally caught on fire and burned a hole in his turf.
LEDs?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So
Wow.
it's important because the wire was undersized coming off of the fixture. The wire in the ground was fine, but the light, the LED, was pulling way too much power for the tiny little 22 gauge wire coming off of it.
So that was a DIYer that messed it up.
It was a
and called
landscaper.
you. Oh.
A landscaper installed those when they installed his yard. He did travertine, installed a pool, turf, everything.
Wow.
I think 3 years later, maybe less than 3 years later, I came and I replaced like those 6 lights along the perimeter.
That's crazy.
And it's because they wanted color changing and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And when he got it done originally, it was way cheaper, but it burned a hole in his turf and lasted 2 years. You know what I'm installing now. You have like reliability in color, because color is really hard to get good connectivity to. Use Wi-Fi, and Bluetooth and all that stuff. Some are like hardwired data cables, and then trying to make sure that we're not just chasing like a cool little feature, but selling functionality. I'm not gonna put these cheap Amazon lights because it gives you an app, but they're not gonna last. You can do that with someone else, or you can do it yourself.
Yeah. That is really fascinating how like you'd think it'd be something so simple, but I don't know. I think people just underappreciate electricity and they just think plugging anything into anywhere is just going to work every time, but there's not actual like hard limits.
Yes.
There are, clearly. And when you're dealing with the elements outside, there's also that to account for. Water, moisture, sun heat.
And water will get wherever they want and destroy everything.
Straight up,
it's like
dude.
it's outside, so anything you put outside, especially in Arizona, is going to get destroyed and beat up. So making sure that you kind of account for that, and it's like make sure the finishes on the fixtures are built for it, and they're not going to corrode and chip and look horrible in the UV. So
yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Man, that's fascinating, dude. I think that it would make a lot of sense to even partner with some landscapers. Have you done anything like that?
So I'm kind of working on building out a referral program and like a partner with them. A lot of them are kind of gung-ho that they're the best, and some of them do take lighting more seriously, and they work with some higher quality vendors and whatnot. But the other side of them is they're like, why? What does it matter? They don't really care if the customer calls them in 5 years. It's like, well, it just is what it is. So they are pretty stubborn on like, well, I don't want to bring you in, because now what they're selling a lighting package for is $5,000, might be $15,000 with me, but it's something that's going to last 10, 15 years, not 3 years, and they're getting more lights, a better design. It's what they actually are looking for. They just don't know they're looking for that.
Right. Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. There is a lot of crossover too that's very collaborative. It's been cool to see. Like we had a guy on the podcast, last pod. He was a drone window washer, did like up to 9-story buildings, and he has window washers or power washers will come on job site and kind of collaborate depending on where he's at. Had pest guys come on who cross over into landscaping a little bit. Will like pull weeds, but it's like not full landscaping, or do referrals and stuff like that. It's really interesting too, because you could almost have some crossover. I would imagine probably the closest thing would be hardscaping, because you have a lot of light fixtures that can be built into sidewalks, steps, and stuff like that. Do you do any of that?
No, and so I think that it's important not to get like distracted, with what I'm doing at least and where I'm at. Where people are coming to me and they're saying, hey, I want someone who only does lighting. So I don't want to start doing hardscaping, and then now that leads into now I'm also doing like turf and all this stuff, and now I'm just a landscape contractor.
Right.
Where there is enough market share to build the lighting business that is substantial, and now I can get referrals from hardscape companies, and I'm not limited to like, well, you do hardscape, like I'm not going to bring you on for the lighting job. Sure. I'm going to go to someone else who just does lighting. I don't believe in like chasing the next shiny thing. Alex Hormozi talks about like the girl in the red dress. So there's money to be made in hardscaping and all those things, but like I'm just going to focus where I'm at and scale it until I can't, and then look around. And I'll never max out the Arizona market.
Yeah, it's that big.
It's huge. If you think about the way that Arizona market is shaped, where everybody from centered in, say, Tempe or like Gilbert or whatever, 45 minutes to max an hour, I can literally be anywhere in the valley. Or say you go to Florida or California and you're 14 hours across the state. And along that, there are huge markets along the way. So they're literally limited by population size and how many homes they have. Like, I don't even know the stats, but we have PV in Scottsdale, where there's like a crazy amount of people with the money for it.
Yep.
As they move and buy third houses and all that stuff. And something that also happens in the lighting industry is, say they have, I've seen it in a few guys in Florida. They have like a house in Florida, and then they have this one guy did a job on like 55 acres in Illinois. So he took his whole team up there, and they did that for like probably a month or a few weeks. And now they have that, and then now we have a house in also Oregon, or we have a house over here, you know. So you can kind of follow them around because it is not your average service, you know. It's so personable and custom to them, and now they know, hey, I trust you with $100,000 lighting project. Let's go do it at this one. You know, I'm not going to go and try and find the next you in this state. Let me just pay a little bit more and send you out there.
Yeah. Very, very specialized, as it should be, you know, be the professional in the industry. And yeah, the other thing too is like referrals, I'm sure is a massive thing for you. Just everyone who lives in the houses that would drop that kind of money on outdoor lighting knows other people that live in those houses that need outdoor lighting as well. That will then buy other houses, either locally or in other states at some point. But you're not doing any traveling right now. You're just staying in Arizona.
Just right now, I think I'm going to maybe entertain going to like northern, see how the summer goes and how busy it is, because like right now it's pretty solid, but I think midsummer, like July, August, when it's super hot, people stop going out less. They're still out at night, but the most thing on their mind isn't, hey, let me go through a whole landscape project or something, you know, where spring and then fall, people are redoing their yards because they're going to be out there more. So if summer kind of slows down, I might pivot to go like more Flagstaff, Payson, Prescott, see what happens up there. Because that's a whole market up there where they're there for the weather. So they're, you know, they're not exposed to the heat. They're there. They want to go outside. That's why they're there.
Yeah, it makes a ton of sense. Like intentionality with people's mindset based on the seasons is going to be. Plus, you know, get out of the valley in the summer. Do that.
I know, exactly, yeah.
It should be your number one reason to do it.
Yeah, I know. From a contractor standpoint, it makes more sense for me, you know?
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah. All right. Well, we're going to wrap it up, but I got one final question for you. And just a lot of our listeners are either existing business owners, or new business owners, or someone who wants to start a business, or someone who is starting a business. And even for existing business owners, I mean, it typically takes about 7 failed businesses before one business works. And failing is relative, but, you know, failing in the sense of it's not quite what you want. And so we realize that a good portion of those business owners will not be in the same business a handful of years from now, or at the very least not in the same place in their business. Hopefully they're all succeeding, but that's kind of what our audience looks like. So can you speak to the audience just very briefly on, you know, how you started your business? Actually, not how, let me back that up. What is a mindset you have to have if you want to start a business?
I would say a mindset that you need to have is being intentional in your decision and not realizing that what it is, like you said, right now is what it's going to be, you know? What is that? And what do you want? You know, what's your why? If creating a business that can support you and your family, well, don't create a job that takes you away from your family, you know? And I think people lose sight of that, and it's everybody wants to be a billionaire. It's like, what if you just wanted to be like a 20 millionaire? Or, you know, what if you just wanted to make $500K a year? Like actually knowing why you want to do certain things. There's one entrepreneur and he talks about like he wrote down every single thing he could ever possibly want. The maintenance included, how much it costs, where he wants to be, vacations, wrote that number down. And he said, okay, this is what I'm chasing. I'm not chasing $1 billion. I'm chasing something that has like intentionality behind that number. And he sold his business for like exactly within that number. And before that, you know, so just being super intentional with that and knowing where you want to go, and say maybe you're a young guy right now and you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a wife, but do you want that? You know, plan for that, make it intentional, put it out there, and choose something that's going to support that, not take it away. There's a million opportunities for businesses you can start. So like take a second, you know, don't like, it's great to rush into it and just like do it, you know, be a doer, but also at the same time, intentionally do it. Don't just do it because you saw a TikTok trend about starting a window cleaning, when you don't want to do window cleaning. You don't want to sell 1,000 jobs for $200 a month. It's like, hey, maybe you're really good at networking with like a higher individual. Okay, well, maybe go into a higher ticket, you know? So knowing who you are, where you want to be, and not just following what everyone else is doing and jumping on trends because it's great.
Yeah. Absolutely, man. And knowing that whatever it is right now, it's not going to be what it is a year from now, 2 years
like,
from now.
What does it look like at scale? You know, wow, this is a really easy job and I'm making a ton of money right now.
Yeah.
But what if all that profit goes as soon as you have to have 5 techs going? You know, are you going to be able to weather that storm of saying, hey, I'm making less money now until I break this next revenue point?
Absolutely.
And maybe you can't do that, but you didn't plan for it. And now that leads you to that quote unquote failure, you know, when it is doing great, but it's not providing what you needed for your lifestyle and where you ended up being 10 years from now.
Dude, absolutely. Delegation is an art. It absolutely is. That's awesome, man. Well, the hour blew by. Thank you for joining us. This was super fun. Just hearing about Logan's business here. Like, there's so much to learn about that industry. We haven't had an outdoor lighting guy on here before. And so it's very interesting to hear kind of the behind the scenes. We'll also have links to his business here in the description. You can definitely check him out. Shoot him a DM. He's super active on Instagram and stuff like that too. And thank you, Logan, for coming on the podcast.
Yeah, thank you.